From the 10p coins that kept the lights on, to the ice you had to scrape off the inside of your windows. These are the moments you will only remember if you're working class in 1970. In 1970, your house didn't just run on electricity, it ran on a ticking clock that was fueled by 10p pieces. There was no app to check your balance, as houses were powered by a coin-fed meter, usually tucked away in a dark cupboard under the stairs or high up in the hallway. If the credit ran out mid-dinner, the house just went silent, plunging into a silence so thick you can hear the neighbors through the wall. Everyone knew the drill, the frantic scramble for a 10p or 50p piece, checking the mantelpiece jar, or diving into the sofa cushions. If you were really desperate, you'd start eyeing up the kids' piggy banks. The television in the corner was part of that same borrowed lifestyle. A color TV cost 10 weeks' wages, so we rented the lifestyle. You'd pay your weekly shillings for a massive wooden box that smelled of warm dust and valves. Dropping 10 weeks' wages on a TV was madness, so everyone headed to radio rentals, or DER, signed a contract, paid a few shillings a week, and a massive wooden cabinet would be delivered to your lounge. These sets relied on glowing glass valves and took forever to warm up. If the picture started ghosting, you didn't just buy a new one, you called the rental man, and he'd spend an hour on your carpet with a soldering iron, smelling of stale tobacco and flux. And while the TV was the warm, humming heart of the room, but even its glowing valves couldn't beat the chill creeping down from the upstairs bedrooms. In those days, central heating was a phrase you only heard on the news or saw in houses with fancy gravel driveways. A single coal fire in the lounge controlled the climate for the whole house. Opening that living room door felt like stepping into a walk-in freezer. Upstairs, the bedrooms were genuinely brutal. You'd wake up to ice on the inside of the glass, scraping patterns into the frost with a ruler just to see if it was snowing. It wasn't just cold, it was see your own breath while lying under the covers cold. To survive, you were buried under an eiderdown, a blanket so heavy and stiff it felt like being pinned to the mattress by a giant. Getting out of bed in the morning wasn't a choice as much as it was a test of character. You'd grab your school jumper, take a deep breath, and perform a frantic shivering sprint down the stairs to the only warm square foot of carpet in the house. While you thawed out by the fire, you might flip through the big book. Whether it was Kay's or Littlewoods, the catalogue was our original version of Amazon. It was managed by a lady down the street who'd pop by every Friday to collect the club money. You'd pay £1 a week into her little ledger, circling the toys or coats you hoped might show up by Christmas. It was a slow-motion economy built on neighborhood trust and a massive amount of patience. Luxury never really felt like a holiday abroad. Before the luxury of a permanent bathroom became the norm, Friday night meant the big wash in the kitchen. You'd drag the heavy zinc tub from the garden hook and wedge it in front of the coal fire. Since the immersion heater cost a fortune to run, hot water was a communal effort, a relay race of whistling kettles and steaming pans carried from the stove. Being the youngest was a gamble. You either got the first dip in boiling water that turned your skin lobster red, or you were the fourth in line, scrubbing yourself in a lukewarm grey soup of hand-me-down suds. You'd emerge shivering, only to be rubbed raw by a towel that had been dried on a radiator until it felt like sandpaper. The soap was gone, but the real street-side entertainment was just warming up. The pop man was the closest thing we had to a celebrity. When that flatbed lorry turned the corner, every kid on the estate was on high alert. If your mum ordered a full crate of cream soda or dandelion and burdock, you were royalty for the day. But the real goal wasn't the drink, it was the glass. Every bottle was a 5p deposit, serious capital when a bag of Mojos cost a penny. You'd spend Saturday morning raiding hedges and back alleys for empties to trade at the corner shop. It was the original side hustle. Luxury literally arrived in a glass bottle on your doorstep. Then There was the rag and bone man. You'd hear his melodic, gravelly shout echoing through the estate before you saw the horse and cart. He was the original recycler, taking everything from rusted bed frames to your dad's old work trousers. The weirdest part was the reward. If you handed over a decent pile of old clothes, you might get a balloon, or if you were lucky, a goldfish in a water-filled plastic bag. We never questioned the logistics of why a man with a horse was handing out pets, or why those fish rarely survived past Tuesday. It was just how the street worked. Nothing was ever truly wasted, and every piece of junk had a hidden value. Every move you made was being tracked by the original neighborhood watch. If these memories hit home, drop a like and subscribe to join the club. It's easier than finding a 10p piece in the dark. Net curtains with the original Ring doorbell. In 1970, those white lace panels weren't for decoration, they were a neighborhood surveillance system. You'd be walking home and catch that slight rhythmic twitch at number 12. That was Mrs. Patterson. She knew exactly what time you got in, who you were with, and if you'd forgotten to wipe your boots. If you got into a scrap at the park or played knock-a-door run, the news traveled faster than a telegram. By the time you reached your own gate, your mum was already standing there with a wooden spoon and a look that said your secret was out. But this wasn't just about being nosy, it was how the street survived. Privacy was a middle-class luxury. We had a community instead. A cup of sugar was a literal daily transaction. If the meter died before payday or the tea bags ran out, you didn't go to the bank, you went to the neighbor. Doors stayed on the latch, and the kettle was always a minute away from whistling. You lived your life in public, and while that meant you couldn't hide your business, it also meant you never had to face a hard week alone. The decade's biggest party didn't happen in a palace, it happened on your pavement. Friday night had one smell: beef dripping, salt, and vinegar. You'd queue at the chippy, watch the steam rise while you waited for a bundle wrapped in yesterday's news. The real prize was the scraps, those free crunchy batter bits the fryer scooped up if you asked nicely. You'd carry that trophy home, grease soaking through the Daily Mirror headlines, and eat it off of your lap in front of the telly. It tasted better because you'd waited all week for it. That same energy hit the tarmac in 1977 for the Silver Jubilee. We didn't wait for an invite to a palace, we just dragged our kitchen tables into the middle of the road. You had bunting made from bin bags, platters of Spam sandwiches, and enough jelly to sink a ship. For one afternoon, the whole estate stopped to breathe together. When summer came, away meant a caravan in Skegness or a damp chalet in Rhyl. No flights to Spain. You'd watch your dad in a striped deck chair, stubbornly nursing a lukewarm bitter while the clouds turned black. He'd insist he was having a smashing time, even as the rain turned his newspaper to pulp. We didn't have much, but we had a place where we belonged.